All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers' 3 different reasons that this team is ready to take it to the next level. It is the offensive line, it is the wide receiver room, and the secret weapon of the special teams pertaining to Mr. Calvin Austin III, specifically in the punt return realm. This is a completely different Pittsburgh Steelers team than 365 days ago. Completely different. Words can't even describe how different of a team it is, and it all starts and it all ends with Kenny Pickett. But we've been talking a lot about Kenny Pickett, so we'll let that settle until we talk about the receiving unit. I want to make a comment on this offensive line. The Pittsburgh Steelers at this time last year came into the regular season with an offensive line. It was very not really liking it. So not only did the Pittsburgh Steelers from the start of the regular season to the end of the regular season, they improved tenfold. Like, they seriously did. They got so much better as a cohesive group, cohesive unit, but they made 2 huge moves that are going to help out this team immediately, and it is the left guard addition of Isaac Seumalo from the Philadelphia Eagles. The second this happened, and I'm serious, the second it happened, I fled to Twitter, I fled to Steelers videos, to Eagle videos. There was not a single Eagles fan on the planet Earth, I don't know about the other planets, but on Earth, no Eagles fan was happy about the loss of Isaac Seumalo. In fact, if you ask an Eagles fan right now about that left guard losing Isaac, they will not be thrilled. But they also spent their first round draft pick. They found their guy. They went out there and they got him, left tackle out of Georgia in Broderick Jones. So not only is this going to make Kenny Pickett's job easier, but it's also going to open up the run game, which Pittsburgh actually struggled with this past season. But before we get any further into tonight's video, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. This is actually my 4th Steelers video in 7 days. I appreciate your guys' love so much. I want to keep rattling them off for you and make them as best as possible. So if we get this video to 500 likes, that would mean the world to me. As always, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. But that offensive line is not only going to help Kenny Pickett in his 2nd season, but it's also going to help out your run game. Last season, Najee Harris statistically struggled. The dude's still a beast. The dude's still a baller. He still had over 1,000 rushing yards. But the offensive line, specifically in the first half of the season, more specifically in the first couple of weeks of the regular season, it was not doing him any favors. So this revamped offensive line is going to pay tenfold. It's going to pay dividends to Najee Harris, Kenny Pickett, Jaylen Warren, even Anthony McFarland Jr. And then that gets us into the wide receiver room. The new names, the new faces coming on over are going to be the rookies. You have technically Calvin Austin III, who is now healthy. He was the 2022 draft pick from Memphis. And you also have Darnell Washington. And then you also have OG veteran Allen Robinson. The thing with Allen Robinson is he's not an OG veteran. He's just like kind of an OG, and he's also kind of a veteran. He's only 30 years old. In fact, he turned 30 years old 4 days ago. So he's still got plenty of gas left in the tank. But the best part is, because you have Deontay Johnson, who's actually really underrated in his own regard, and you have George Pickens, who all of training camp, all of preseason was making highlight reel plays. We saw it at the preseason finale against the Atlanta Falcons in the shutout. We saw it last season in his rookie season. That was also extremely slept on. You have 2 studs, 2 dogs. One of them's a rising star in this league in George Pickens. But you also have reliable wide receivers, Deontay Johnson, newcomer Allen Robinson. You still have Pat Freiermuth, but now you have your new additions coming on in. Crazy specimen in Darnell Washington and crazy speedster threat in Calvin Austin III. I want to talk about Calvin Austin III in the punt return realms. Here's a quote from the Pittsburgh Steelers special teams unit, and it has to do with the punt game and honestly kicking in general, kick returns in general. We've talked a lot in the preseason about Calvin Austin III returning some of these punts. He had 5 total punt returns in the 3 preseason games. He had 107 yards in total, including that long of 54. He averaged 21 yards per punt return. In the regular season, that is going to be a completely different, that's just insane. Here is a direct quote The field position on the punt is huge. It already was, just because when you look at statistics where drives start and the probability of it ending in points, but it's made punting more important for offenses. The playbook's way more open at the 25. You'd be shocked at how much of a difference 5 yard makes, but it does. And this is something we've talked about after every Steelers preseason game, because Calvin Austin III in the punt return realm's been killing it. I mean, you're getting 2 first downs per punt return. Now, that is not going to be sustainable. Calvin Austin III, if he's this punt returner this upcoming season, he's not going to average over 20 yards per return. But that's 2 first downs. I mean, can you imagine if you got a punt return at the 25? We'll use that as an example, and you call a fair catch. So you got the ball at the 25. Awesome. Well, I mean, while we're at hypotheticals, imagine you let the ball bounce and you're all the way back at the 15. But then we bring in the realm that's going to happen this upcoming season with Calvin returning these punts. Well, imagine you're at the 45. Now you only have to get 2 more first downs in order to put some type of points on the board. It truly is a complete difference maker, complete game changer. And when you have such an X factor, such a speedster threat in Calvin Austin III, and even Anthony McFarland Jr. had a couple of great kick returns, that speed, that playmaking ability, getting extra yards, it's gonna pay dividends. It is. And you're gonna see it immediately. And we said in our last couple of Steelers videos, if Calvin Austin III is the punt returner to start off the season, in the first 6 weeks of the year, he will, my take is he will run one back. But even if he doesn't run one back, he'll have one over 50 yards. He'll have almost ran one back, pretty much like that one in the preseason game. So that's an X factor. That is a true difference maker. And you never know, playoff football, when it gets cold, it could take this Pittsburgh Steelers team a lot deeper than opposing teams. You never really realize, special teams are interesting because you never really realize how important special teams are in any realm, kicking, returning, punts, whatever it is, until you either have one or two. You either have a special teams unit that is feeling it and you're like, oh damn, dude, this is something we have in our back pocket. Or your special team sucks, like my Green Bay Packers for several seasons, and it ends up costing you a playoff game when you were the 1 seed. That's just my salty Packer fanness. But you don't realize, like, we suck at special teams. And I look at a team like the Steelers and I envy you, because it's like, wow, I would love to have Calvin Austin III. So all in all, that's really it for today, man. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. I want to hear from you guys. I love hearing from you guys down below. But as we've mentioned all week, the Steelers preseason, offensively and defensively, with just their first team unit going 5 for 5, scoring points, scoring touchdowns, defense, special teams, like we mentioned, rookies, depth charts on both sides of the trenches for the Steelers, offensively and defensively, are extremely deep. That's something we haven't seen in quite some time. The Pittsburgh Steelers, I know it's just preseason. I know we're just looking at things on paper right now, and it's preseason football, but at the end of the day, man, the Steelers killed it. And I would rather have you kill preseason than you absolutely suck and your offense looks horrid and you can't get anything going. Like, momentum is extremely important for a reason. That's exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers have going for them right now. That's it for tonight, man. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. If you guys want more Steelers videos, let me know down below. But let me know what you're thinking about the wide receiver room, the offensive line, and Calvin Austin III returning these punts. That's it from me. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night.